A viewer named CMS made me aware of a very nice headless CMS called Strapi. And this is pretty interesting to us because lately we have been doing projects in which we use something like WordPress or October CMS to power up our front-end application. And the Strapi is actually a headless CMS and it doesn't give you any front-end, which we don't need because we are using Vue or Svelte or Sapper or something like that for that. And instead of that, it just gives you the pure REST API and a very nice administration area to structure your data. And then you can consume it with anything you like, your front-end framework, your iOS application, your Android application, and so on, right? So in this episode, we are going to take a look at Strapi. Also, thank you, Sanas. So if you go to Strapi.io, you can read more about Strapi. I'm not going to go through all of this. You can click on this Get Started link, which will get you started very quickly. You're going to have this quick start command that you can just run and install Strapi. But first of all, I just want to look at this installation requirements. So you need to have Node.js at least version 10.x. You need to have npm at least 6.x. And this is the databases that you would need. We are going to install Strapi with a quick start, which means that it's automatically going to give you an SQLite database because it's just a file database and we are going to be using that. But if you want to use something else, you don't then run this quick start. Then you would just run it without that flag, and then you can choose the database that you like. Of course, you would have to have that database installed on your system. So something like MongoDB, at least version 3.6, MySQL, MariaDB, PostgreSQL, and SQLite 3. So all the major databases are supported, and you can use whichever you like. So you can install Strapi very quickly by either using yarn command or npx command. Since I'm not using yarn, I'm going to use npx, copy it out and just paste it into my console. And then I'm going to change the name of my project to just be Strapi. You press enter and then you wait for Strapi to install. So once the Strapi is installed, it's automatically going to open up a page on localhost 1337, and you are going to have to define your first administration user. So I'm just going to do admin, and the password is going to be test123, and you can just do something like test@test.com. We are not going to keep these updates and just click ready to start. And then you get immediately pushed into administration area, which is pretty great, as you will see. And if you have any experience with something like October CMS or WordPress and its content types, I think you will find this pretty familiar actually, because as you can see, you have these content types right here, which is just like content types in WordPress, in which you can create the type of data that you need to display in your applications. So let's just quickly go through this administration area because there aren't a lot of things to show you. So first of all, let's go from the bottom, right? So you can see the marketplace. It doesn't have a lot in it for now. So you have most of the plugins already installed, but you can download the documentation or GraphQL plugin, which is going to enable you to use GraphQL with your API. But we are not going to be doing that in this video. You also have the install plugins. So these are all the plugins that you have installed, which you've seen in the marketplace. You have roles and permissions, files upload, and then this content type builder, which we are going to spend most of our time in. So as you know, we usually create something like a movie database for our examples, and we are going to be doing that right here very simply. So I'm just going to go to my content type builder and I can create a new content type, right? So you have currently permissions, roles, and user. So I want to create a new content type. Let me just turn this off. Okay. And that new content type is going to be called movies. And you just click on continue. right? And now you just define your fields. So you have a text field, rich text field, number, date, boolean, relation, which is pretty interesting, emails, passwords, enumeration, media, JSON. We are not going to go through all of this, but I'm going to just show you how you can quickly create your API using this very nice administration area. So I'm going to click on text and name this title. So this is going to be our title field, and it's going to be a short text. Also, you can use long text. So I'm just going to go with short text, and just remember you have these advanced settings which you can define, in which you can define default value, required fields, unique fields, maximum length, minimum length, and this can be different for different types of fields. Okay, so we created the title. We can immediately add another field which is going to be let's say a date. So it's going to be a release date, and the type is going to be just date. Okay, we can add another field. Okay, so it should be date. We could add another field. Now then we are just going to add a media file. So it's going to be a poster. So media is going to be a poster for our movie, and you can either choose multiple media or a single media file. I'm going to choose a single media file and click finish. So this is going to be actually our movie type, right? Title, release date, poster. Next, let's create another content type, and this one I'm going to call actors. So, okay, so we need to save our work. Please save it. So it's going to restart for some reason. After this is done, let's create a new content type, and I'm going to call it actors, and I click continue. In it, we are just going to have two text fields, which are actually just going to be first name and last name of the actors. And then we can make a relation between those two content types, because all of the movies have actors, and actors act in movies, right? So let's first of all create our fields. So this is going to be first name, add another field, and this is going to be last name. Finish, and then save. Okay, so now as you can see, we have our content types right here, and we can add stuff to them. So I'm going to go to actors and maybe fill out some actors right here. So I'm just going to click add new actors, and you can do something like and so on. So I'm just going to save this and add some more actors behind the scenes. Okay, so I added 3 actors: Jeff Bridges, Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, and then let's add some movies. So if we go to movies, we can add a new movie, and now you can see we have a title, we have a release date, and we have our poster. So I'm just going to add a few movies right here. Let's add Inception. The release date is going to be something like this, and we want to add a new file. So I'm just going to add Inception JPEG right here, open it up, save it, and I'm going to add a few more movies behind the scenes. Okay, so now that I added these 3 movies, so Big Lebowski, Goodfellas, and Inception, let's try to make a relation between our movies and our actors. Now we are going to go to our content type builder again, and in here we want to just go to our movies and create another field, actually add another field, which is going to be this relation field right here. So if I click on it, you can see this is already pre-selected to be movies and actors. So we wanna connect movies with our actors, and as you can see, you have different types of relationships right here, and one of them is many-to-many, because actors can act in many movies, and many movies can belong to many actors, right? So we are going to just create many-to-many relationship between movies and actors, and then just finish. So now I can go to my actors, for example, right? And I can click on Jeff Bridges and then add a movie to it, right? So this movie is going to belong to Jeff Bridges and vice versa, right? So I can click on Inception, but he doesn't star in that movie, so I'm going to click on Big Lebowski. But since this is a many-to-many relationship, I can also choose Goodfellas and also Inception, right? So you can have one actor act in different movies. So that's a many-to-many relationship. But for this example, I'm just going to leave this to be Big Lebowski, save it, do the same thing for Leonardo DiCaprio. So we are going to add him to Inception, and we are going to add Robert De Niro to Goodfellas. And of course, this works both ways, so you can go to movies and add actors to the movies, right? So for now, this just displays the first name of the actor. I don't know how to fix that. I didn't have time to actually go through all the details, but I'm sure it's possible to get the first and last name. If nothing else, you can just create a field called first and last name just for this purpose. And then we are just going to save this. Okay, so now we have our relationships going, we have our movies, we have our actors. I just want to show you one more thing before we actually take a look at our data, and that is if you go to the content type builder, you can go to, movies, and you can configure the view of the movie. So you can configure how your administration is going to look like. Not very much, you can configure where everything is going to be, but as you can see, you can move poster above the title and so on. So basically, you can just move things around here, which for now doesn't matter very much because we only have 3 fields, but if you have many fields, this can be very useful to you. So for now, we are just going to save this, and let's take a look at our movies. And to do that, you would just go to localhost 1337, right, and do something like movies. But as you can see, the status code is 403 and the error message is forbidden. This is because we haven't set up our permissions for this yet. So we are going to do this right now. So to set up permissions for content types, you would just go to roles and permissions, and then you would set them up in this public provider or maybe even authenticated provider if you are using some kind of authentication for your application. But we are just going to go to public, and then right here you can set find and find one. So this is going to be the most basic of permissions. So the find permission is just going to be the list for all the movies, as you can see right here. So it's going to be a get command with just movies, or actually get method. And then you would have find one, which is going to give you movies/ID. So on that route, on that endpoint, actually, you are going to get the movie that you're looking for. And then, of course, you can define if your users can update, delete, create, count your content. So if you're having application which users add stuff to your application throughout your frontend and throughout your application, you can just enable those fields too. But for now, we are just going to set up this find and find one. And also I'm going to do the same thing for actors. Please read about in the documentation for these permissions, because this is very important if you are building a production ready application, so you understand this thing perfectly, because I'm not going to go into much detail here about that. So we're just going to save this, and now we should have access to our movies. Right, so as you can see, these are all of our movies, and what is very nice right here, and we have had some problems with WordPress APIs, in which, for example, for the poster, you would just get the ID of the media file. Here you get the poster, you get the ID of it, you get the name of it, you get the hash of it, you get everything. So you get the URL, everything you need. Also, for the actors, you don't just get the ID of the actor, but you get the full actor when it's created, everything. Right, so this is good if you're building application that doesn't have that much data, but if you have much more data, you would probably need to install that GraphQL plugin, and that would be better suited for APIs that would deliver a very big response to your users, right? So that your application doesn't lag. You could use GraphQL to get just the data that you need. I'm not sure, as I said, I tested Strapi today, so I'm not expert at it. I did a quick search to see if I can make this response a little bit smaller, but I didn't find anything. So I think it's made to use GraphQL for making sure that you get just the data that you need. And for the smaller projects, you can use just this response right here. And of course, you can go to movies/1 and we will get the endpoint for the movie with the ID on 1 with the ID of 1, which is in this case movie Inception. Okay, so that was a quick look, very quick look at Strapi, but I have a feeling that we are going to run into Strapi on this channel a few more times when doing something with, well, probably React. And I'm going to talk about that in one of the future episodes, actually probably next episode. So anyway, this has been it for this video. Thank you guys for watching and I will see you in the next one.